Good afternoon to all. Today we are going to see about properties, methods, and events of objects in VB. Properties: all the controls in the toolbox except the pointer or objects. So in toolbox there are a variety of objects available. So each one of the objects have their own properties, methods and events. Properties define the characteristics of an object, such as the size of an object, color, enabled or a font style, text box. If you want to disable or enable the text box, and you can edit the width and height of the text box. So these are all the properties of the text box or other objects. Design properties that can be set at the design time by selecting the properties window. So you can set the properties for every objects at the design time. You can set the properties in design time as well as the runtime. But certain properties cannot be set at design time. For example, current X and current Y properties of the form cannot be set at the design time. The next we have to see methods. So what is method? It is an action that can be performed on objects. For example, you can take a cat. So cat is an object. So what are the properties of a cat? For example, long hair, white hair, blue eyes, 3 pounds weight, etc. So these are the properties of a cat. Then what are the methods done by the cat? That means what are all the activities done by the cat? So it might be move, jump, play, breathe, etc. So similarly, in object-oriented programming, a method is a connected or built-in procedure, a block of code that can be invoked to impart some action on a particular object. So it should be perform some particular object, that is called a method. Method requires an object to provide them with a context. For example, let us take text box methods. So you can see 3 methods for text box, that is move, refresh and set focus. So what is the use of move method? Means you can move the control from one place to another place. That means you can change the position of the text box. For example, you can give text1 dot move 800 300. Then it will change the current position to 800 300. The next method is refresh method. It will enforce the complete repaint of the control of a form. For example, it will refreshes the text box. That means you can give the new value to the text box. The old one will be deleted. The next one is set focus method. It moves the focus on the control. For example, text1 dot set focus, that will set the focus to text box control text1. The next one is, we can see event driven programming. So here the program statements are executed only when a particular event calls a specific part of a code that is assigned to the event. For example, text box control events such as change, click, move, mouse move and etc. So that means if you want to change the text box value, then you have to set the cursor position in the text box. Then at the time it will trigger some events. Otherwise it will trigger some fires on the particular text box. So that we called as an event driven programming. So code entered in the text change event fires when there is a change in the contents of the text box. That is called the event driven. So the click event fires when the text box control is clicked. Another one event driven is mouse move event fires when the mouse is moved over the text box. The next one is working with forms. What is forms? So it is the basic objects in which the application is developed. So this is the basic area you have to design the forms. Okay. Window that contains an application code, other objects can placed on it to create the user interface area. So it will give the interaction area to the user. That is called the form. So the first form, so when you are entered into the VB, then you can select the standard exe, then it will create one form, the first form, that is called the parent form. Then afterwards you can create so many forms, that is called the child forms. So the child form can create within the form. So there is no limitation for the child form, creating the child form. The forms has its own properties, events and methods as like other controls or as like other objects. So what are all the important properties of the form? The first one is mouse pointer. It will indicate the type of mouse pointer displayed when the mouse pointer appears over a particular area of the object at runtime. The second one is MDI child. It specifies the particular window shown within multiple document interface. Third one is window state. Window is shown normal, minimized and maximized. So if you want to display the window in normal size or minimized size or maximized size at runtime, you can set the property at the design time itself. The next one is displaying forms. So if you want to display the form, you can use show method. Then if you want to hide the form at runtime, you can use the method hide. Then if you want to load at the time of execution of an application, then you can use load. Then if you want to unload the form, you can use unload forms. So these are all the important properties and methods of the form. The next one is, so what are all the steps you have to follow while creating the project, saving the project and deleting the project. So first, if you want to create a project, first you have to select the new file in Visual Basic 6.0. So I already told you how will you enter into the Visual Basic 6.0. Once again I repeat, you have to select start button, then you have to click Microsoft Visual Studio 6.0. Then the pop-up dialog box will be displayed. Then you have to select Microsoft Visual Basic 6.0. Then it will show the new startup dialog box. Under that you have to select file menu. Then pop-up menu will be displayed. Then that is you have to select new project. The user can open any number of projects in that. Then existing file, that means you can open the already developed project by clicking the file menu, open project. So it will be opened already designed and saved project. And the next one is recent file. So in that recent file you can open recently designed and saved project. Then how can you save the project means you have to click the menu file. Under that you have to select save project. Okay, so the next one is How can you make a .exe file for execution? You have to select file, in that file menu, in that make project.exe. So it is used for execution by window. Then if you want to delete the project in your system, you have to select file, then remove project. So it will delete the selected project. Then how can you set the properties for the control at runtime and the design time? So there are two ways. I already told you there are two ways for setting the properties for the object. The first one is setting property at design time. Select the object or control and enter new value in properties window. The next one is setting property at runtime. So this is you have to give the value in program code. For example, object dot property name equal to value. This is the basic format while setting the properties for the controls or objects. The design time settings need not be a permanent during a program run. Okay. Then developing an applications. So what are all the ways you have to follow for developing an application? So first one is, what is the project? So it is a collection of files. That means it is a collection of forms that are used to build an applications. So you have to enter so many values for an applications. So each form can get some values for an application. The next, you have to build an application in two steps. One is visual programming. You can use various tools like text box, label box, etc. The next point is coding programming. That means you have to write programs using the text editor or in your program window. The third one is you have to check the sample example program in your book. The next one is, what are all the steps you have to follow? First, you have to open a new project and add the necessary forms, save the form and the project with the suitable names, then design the form using the controls. Then you can set the properties for the appropriate controls, then adding code for the program. Then you have to run the program by pressing F5 or run button, then creating an executable program using make exe, then ending an application by clicking end button. So thank you. I hope you can understood the steps. What are all the steps you have to follow while building the application? Thank you.